Good afternoon, one and all. Today, let us discuss about benzoin condensation. So, it is a named reaction. The benzoin condensation involves the treatment of an aromatic aldehyde with aqueous alcoholic potassium cyanide or sodium cyanide. So, benzoin condensation is basically involving in the treatment of whenever you are treating an aromatic aldehydes. So, remember the point aromatic aldehydes. So, only aromatic aldehydes are going to give the reaction here. So, with the base, that is potassium cyanide or sodium cyanide. So, whatever the product you are obtaining from benzoin condensation are alpha hydroxy ketones. The products obtained from benzoin condensation are alpha hydroxy ketones. So for example, benzaldehyde reacts with alcoholic potassium cyanide to form benzoin. So here you need to remember one main point, that the two molecules of benzaldehydes are going to be take part in this reaction. You can see the reaction. First one is 1 mole of benzaldehyde is reacting with another mole of benzaldehyde in the presence of potassium cyanide and alcohol plus water to give benzoin. So if you see in the reaction, so the hydrogen is going towards oxygen. So whenever the hydrogen goes towards oxygen, there it leads to formation of OH group, and a single bond will be sharing between carbon and oxygen. So this is called as benzoin condensation. How this benzoin condensation is going to take place, let us in detail see through mechanism. So in the mechanism, the first step is the cyanide ion reacts readily with benzaldehyde and enables the formation of carbanion. So if you see in the first step, the benzaldehyde is reacting with cyanide ion. So from where you got this cyanide ion? So this cyanide ion is obtained from the potassium cyanide, which is used as a base, as a intermediate. So this base is used as intermediate. From that base you are getting cyanide ion. So this cyanide ion is reacting towards the carbonyl carbon of the benzaldehyde. So whenever it reacts with carbonyl carbon of the benzaldehyde, so then it forms an intermediate where the hydrogen is abstracted towards the oxygen to form a carbanion. So the next step is the carbanion reacts with another mole of benzaldehyde. Remember, we have used 2 moles of benzaldehyde in the mechanism. The first step was where we have used only 1 mole of benzaldehyde, and in the second step also we are using another mole of benzaldehyde. So the carbanion, whatever it is formed in the first step, is going to react with another mole of benzaldehyde to form an intermediate where there is a new generation of a bond between the carbon and carbon, and this oxygen attains a negative charge. So next step is a proton shift. You are not using any chemicals here. You are just shifting the protons from one place to the other place. That is, you can see the second carbon is having oxygen atom, where that particular position should get the hydrogen from the beside oxygen atom, and the cyanide group is going to be at the same place. Where in the cyanide ion, if it is leaving off, then you are getting the final product called as benzoin. So this is the basic mechanism involved in the benzoin condensation. So the main points to be remembered in the benzoin condensation are, so it is basically reacted between the aromatic aldehydes in the presence of a base such as potassium cyanide or sodium cyanide to form alpha hydroxy ketones. So here we need to remember that 2 moles of benzaldehydes have been used, and the cyanide ion is the generated one, that is intermediate which is generated, which reacts with 1 mole of benzaldehyde to form carbanion, and then in the next step the carbanion again reacts with another mole of benzaldehyde to form an intermediate where proton shift takes place with the liberation of cyanide ion to form benzoin as the final product. Next is applications. If you see the applications, 2 moles of anisaldehyde, this is also an aromatic aldehyde, When it reacts with potassium cyanide, it gives anisoine. Next, 2 moles of furfural, it reacts with potassium cyanide to form furan. So these are the two applications of benzoin condensation. You can write any number of applications, but I have given only two applications regarding to this named reaction. So this class ends with this particular applications.